So moving on to another topic that I wanted to talk about was guns and assault weapons. And there was this nun, I guess she's a nun, on Twitter. They were blasting me up. FYI, folks, on Twitter, I'm not going anywhere. But I do love the comments because, as I said at the beginning of this of the video, unless you're watching the shorts, the 6-minute segments, as I said before, I don't give a shit what you have to say. I mean, I want you to be able to say it. I mean, I'm sure that there's going to be some people that just absolutely just think I'm a tool, and that's okay. Because I don't care. Never have. Never in my life have I gave a shit one way or the other. So let's talk about the assault weapons and the banning of the assault weapon. I said it in another segment. The reason the kids died at the school in Uvalde, Texas, was the fact you had cowards out there that were wearing badges that should have taken their ass in there and engaged the shooter, and they didn't. It took a lone border patrol agent with a barred shotgun to go in and actually save the day. When them dipshits are standing outside, and I said it before and I'll say it again, every single fucking one of them should be fired. And the police chief that ordered it should be indicted. They knew the grandmother, the real hero in this, was shot in the face, goes and calls 911, tells them they don't intercept him. They're a bunch of idiots that shouldn't be wearing badges, and I'll say it again. As a former law enforcement officer, you wouldn't have been able to keep me out of that. If my wife would have been there, you wouldn't have kept me out of that. I'd have run my damn car right through the front door. And then might have got my ass shot off, but you know what? Oh well. But they stood out there, didn't intercept them, and look at Florida, the last mass shooting there. The FBI was contacted over 20 times and did nothing. Almost every time in these mass shootings, folks, the FBI, the police, all these people were notified. They put their manifesto online. And what does the police do? Nothing. Not a fucking thing. Nothing. Are you kidding me? You're not going to investigate? What do you think red flag laws are going to do? You've already seen, look at the assassination in Japan. You can't have a gun at all, period. Made a gun, assassinated the prior prime minister. And so the bottom line is this. Gun control laws don't work. Educating your police, paying them more, and getting some folks in there that want to do that job and actually have the wherewithal to do that job. When policing actually fucking matters, they fail to police. When it fucking actually matters. No, I watched a video just the other day about a cop that was at a Perplex or something. Walks up to the woman, tells her, oh, well, they accused you of shoplifting. Do you have a receipt for what you purchased? Really? You Constitution inept individual? I would have never done that as a cop. You know what I'd done? I'd walked up to her and I'd said, can I see your identification, please? And they would have said, she would have probably said, why? And I'd told her, well, you got to produce it if I ask for it, so I need to see it. And to make a long story short, I got her information, gave it back to them, said, if you want to press charges, press charges. But he tased her, arrested her. Turns out she did pay for the stuff. Turns out she did have a receipt. She just wouldn't show it to him. And she has no right to show it to him. Ohio v. Rayner. The Fifth Amendment's basic function is so innocent persons don't get ensnared by ambiguous circumstances. In other words, the Fifth, shutting up and being quiet to the police does not indicate guilt. The police have 1,000 ways to screw you over. You have one way to keep them from doing it, and that's to shut the hell up. Now, folks, I digress. My point being is this. The cops did nothing. When policing actually mattered, rather than it be trivial ass shit like I just described, when policing when it mattered, they dropped the ball. and none of them should be police officers. Red flag laws will not work. They'll be abused, and it'll be in the divorce courts when it's abused. Oh, my God. John told me he was going to shoot himself, and then here we go. No constitutional protections whatsoever. Red flag laws are unconstitutional, and rhinos like Lindsey Graham ought to be removed. Anyone that supported red flags ought to be voted out of office. You have no right to take someone's constitutional rights away from them just because you think they may do something. When almost every time that one of these mass shooters, they could have been arrested for threats and intimidation by letter of notice, by putting the shit online. There's a ton of different other laws, terroristic threats. There's a ton of different things they could have been arrested for that would have stopped it. Nobody hears about the woman. The woman had a concealed weapons permit. Mass shooter was fixing to shoot, and she took his ass down. And now I think that was in Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. So, folks, don't cry me a damn river with your gun control shit. It doesn't work. New York has one of the highest, one of the worst gun control laws. Nobody can get a gun except now with the Supreme Court ruling. Chicago, same way. You have more killings and guns and shootings over there than you ever do in, say, Mississippi. And they try to skew the numbers. The governor of New York was saying, no. Where you have more guns, you have more killings. That's a skew of the numbers. Go look it up from the FBI statistics. It's a skew of the numbers. You got half as many people get stabbed to death every year as you do get shot. What about those assault knives? Those assault kitchen knives? What about those? By God, we got to ban Emeril Gassi from making those assault knives. We got to hold him accountable when someone gets stabbed. What about the 49,000 people in 2019 that were killed in automobile accidents? What about those people? We got to ban Ford. We got to hold them accountable. That family wouldn't have died if Ford hadn't have made that car. You see how insanely stupid that is, right? And if you don't, then you're an idiot. That's all I can say. We can't, we can have a conversation about it, but the fact of the matter is, if you don't understand how much stupidity that is, more people get killed each year by automobile accidents, way more people. There are a ton of different things that kill people every year other than firearms. And I said this to this woman. Ever heard of Timothy McVeigh? Killed roughly 3,000 people with a truckload of fertilizer made into a bomb. So would you have rather than blew up the damn school? Just as long as it wasn't a gun. Because them assault rifles. Oh my God, them assault rifles. And I told her, I said, define it for me. Define assault rifle. You can't. It's an ambiguous term. Any weapon used to, let me be slow, assault you is an assault weapon. Let me say it again. Any weapon used to assault you is an assault weapon. So get over yourself. You lost. You had 50 years of liberal-ass judges that almost destroyed our Constitution, and you're pissing and moaning about the fact that you can't murder. I swear, I think if you went back 50 years and told people that people are pissed off because they cannot kill their kid, or they're trying to dismantle our rights to bear arms, I think you would be, they'd be shocked. In this country, you have a right to keep and bear arms. In this constitutional republic. And I was saying earlier, Congress cannot, well, they can, pass laws that contradict the Constitution. Otherwise, it's going to be struck down. I didn't write the Constitution, but I agree with it. And I agree with it as an originalist. I agree it should be amended. I agree sometimes it should be amended. Like, I'll tell you something that should be repealed, the 17th Amendment. And the reason I think that the 17th Amendment should be repealed is because we have two houses. The way the founding fathers set it up is you had the House of Representatives that represented the people, the majority of the people. Then you had the Senate that represented the states. And before the 17th Amendment, the senators were elected by the state legislatures, not the people. But the progressives pushed like hell to get that changed so that they would be elected by the people. So essentially, you have two houses. If you repeal that, you put the power back into the states to go, wait a minute. You're not doing what you said you were going to do. And then they recall their ass. It puts a lot of power back into the states if you was to repeal the 17th Amendment. I digress. I did a whole show on the 17th Amendment, not going to get into that. But you have the right to keep and bear arms. Never forget that. It has nothing to do with hunting and everything to do with tyranny. And with that, I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.